Hey cookies, Pat here. Hey cookies. Hey there cookies, hope everybody's doing well this beautiful morning. Today I would like to share another poem with you. And this poem is going to be your assignment for ELA this week to find it on Common Lit and read it and answer the questions, and I'll go ahead and post that on Google Classroom. It is in companion to We Wear the Mask by Paul Laurence Dunbar, which I asked you guys to read before break. So if you haven't read that and you haven't done that assignment on Common Lit, do it first and then come to this. So this poem is called Jabari Unmasked, and it's by a contemporary author named Nikki Grimes, who is still living and writing today. I believe she's in New York. She was certainly raised in New York and studied in New York. And she wrote this poem as a companion to Dunbar's poem. Now, the coolest part of the poem, you're going to have to see for yourselves on Common Lit. And what's cool about it is the structure. So I'll try to explain it to you, but I think you're going to really see it when you visually look at the poem. So Nikki Grimes uses a form of poetry called the golden shovel. And basically how this works is, you know how you have a line of poetry, and sometimes like you have end rhyme at the end of the lines. She's not so much worried about rhyme. The last word of each line is a word from the first stanza of Paul Laurence Dunbar's We Wear the Mask. So if you look at her poem, the last word of the first line is we, the last word of the second line is where, the last word of the third line is the last word of the fourth line is mask, and so on and so forth. Talk about an allusion or a reference, super clear reference to the poem that inspired this one. Now, what I love about this is it takes some of Dunbar's themes and it applies them to you. So listen to the poem, think about what I mean when I say that, because you are definitely the intended audience. Okay? So, Jabari Unmasked by Nikki Grimes. Fresh out of middle school, we all understand the rules, wear whatever's in, scowl on cue to convince the world we're fearless. Anything to mask the million insecurities that pockmark our skin like acne. Gone the grins when we strut down the hall. We talk tough and hope to God it's enough to get us by. It's all lies. We despise the masquerade. It may disguise our fears, but also hides our kind and tender hearts, our agile minds, the wit that sits behind our cheeks. Who'd guess that some of us are geeks and nerds and poets too? Clothed in shades of chocolate skin, our color works to camouflage our character and promise, at least in certain eyes. One look, and we are neatly judged, this gang, those thugs, these dark delinquents in debt to society. Meanwhile, you fail to see that we are college-bound, more than a few, prepared to pay attention to psychology, the sciences, the arts, to thoughtfully unfurl the scrolls of human history. Instead, you see a thief who uses guile. Is such unfairness what the world is filled with? The evidence is seen in spirits ripped and torn. Still, the world needs the dreams we offer, and should we leave those dreams bleeding on the road, we'd shrink our own hearts down to nothing, and that we would regret. Better to let our anger go and smile. The ignorant ignore as best you can, and in the end, mask aside, freshen your mouth with ferocious lines of potent poetry, with metaphors that mightily reveal the myriad of emotions you feel, yet in all their subtleties. I hope you guys love that poem as much as I do. So, heads up. Next week, I'm going to ask you guys to write an academic style paper comparing and contrasting the Paul Laurence Dunbar poem with the Nikki Grimes poem. So don't need to get started on the paper, but I do want you thinking about what they have in common as you're doing this assignment, all right? And that'll make next week a bit more easy for you. All right, kiddos, I miss ya. Hope everybody's being safe. Hope everybody's well. Hope everybody's reading. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.